So Barcelona traveled to San Sebastian to take on Real Sociedad in the final match on Saturday night in La Liga, round 12, and well, they got the job done. And to be honest, saying that they got the job done does feel a little bit generous. In fact, it's very much generous, okay? Because unless the job that they did was the Italian job, then they didn't really do a job. Anywho, Barca did travel to Real Sociedad, walked away as 1-0 winners, and we're going to talk quite a bit about this performance from Barcelona, because as much as it probably is going to come off like, I don't know, first world problems to be complaining about winning a game which you thoroughly did not deserve to win, well, we do need to talk about a few things in this game, particularly the performances and some of the things that we're seeing, which, honestly speaking, it's a bit discouraging considering the point at which we are in the season, and also considering the fact that our team is supposed to be getting stronger now with the returns of the likes of Lewandowski and Rafinha and Pedri and Koundé as well, who returned today. Anywho, hello everyone and welcome to Blog Runner Everything, and welcome to what is going to be a match review of Barca's, narrow and undeserved 1-0 win away at Real Sociedad. The goal coming courtesy of Ronald Araujo, who, to be quite honest, on his part did not deserve to lose this game because he personally played well. Him and, maybe two other players we can talk about. We'll get to mentioning them in the positives anyway. But this is a match review, so I'm going to take you through the negatives and positives of this performance by Barca for giving my team rating, manager rating, and picking my man of the match. So if you're new here, welcome. This is how we do things, and please do hit subscribe. We recently hit that 5k marker and we're hoping to get 6k. We're a third of the way there, guys. Let's just let's go ahead and do this. Alrighty then, let's get to talking about that performance by Barcelona, and I'll start, of course, as I usually do, with my negatives. And the first negative here, well, where to start really? It's just the performance in general, and I think everything probably that Barcelona didn't do in this game is summed up in me talking about the performance in general. Barcelona could barely put together 3 passes in this game. Every third pass or every second pass, Barcelona would give the ball away to Real Sociedad, who, in their defense, are a team that's going to press you really high, especially when they're at home. In those opening, 20 or 30 minutes, Real Sociedad at home is one of the worst opponents you can come up against if you're a team that loves to play out from the back, okay? Because they will get in your faces, they'll have a lot of energy from their fans in La Reale Arena, and, just generally they're going to make it hard for you. And in particular, La Reale Arena, or Anoeta as it used to be called, is always a difficult venue for FC Barcelona in particular to travel to, because, up until recently, Barca really struggled to win at this venue. And in fact, I've seen Barcelona play matches where they arguably deserved to win, they were the better team, and they still lost to Real Sociedad, unlike this time around where, it was very much the opposite. So it was almost like a reversal, really, whereby Sociedad were playing like Barcelona would, coming to Anoeta, and then, losing at the end because of one goal, something like that, which they couldn't defend. Really here, Barcelona's biggest issue, much like it was in the clasico during that second half, we have to say has to be the intensity. Now, usually you expect the team's intensity to drop off into the second half, which is what we've been seeing with Barca in the past 2 matches before this one. But this time around, right from the start, the intensity was not there. There just wasn't any intensity from Barcelona, and it didn't help that Ilkay Gundogan at the base of that midfield, he was losing balls to that press from Sociedad like he was Oriol Romeu, he was just playing as one of these kids coming from the academy. It was really, really bad from him. At the end of the day, his metrics look good, and you probably see a couple sites which have given him a good rating, and he did get the assist for Araujo. But aside from all of that, generally during this game, Ilkay Gundogan coughed up the ball almost every time that he tried to play out from the back, and in particular, I think he was one of the Barcelona players who it really looked like the occasion got to him. And that's a bit disappointing when you think back to what he was saying after El Clasico, the criticism that he had of his teammates saying they should have been more angry with the result. And well, after talking like that, you would expect that he would have been, on his game here, but he just didn't look like he was up for it. And everything else was just really a set of dominoes falling coming from that. I mean, we did get to see Pedri come back, but it was really too soon to bring him back. And in a match like this one as well, this is definitely not a game you want to be bringing back somebody who's been out for a long time, who has no match sharpness, who doesn't have the regular match intensity. And it was no surprise to see him coming on and losing the ball so many times as well. So honestly, in this game, if not for two players in particular, we really would have lost this game easily by 3 or 4 goals. And I guess since I've talked for such a long time right now about negatives, I can get briefly into the positives. And positives in particular this time around were the performances of Ter Stegen, of Araujo, and Gavi. Now, if there were 3 players who didn't really let the occasion get to them, it's probably the 3 I've just named. Gavi in particular was his typical, tenacious self, winning the ball back so many times. I lost count how many recoveries he got there, or just, how many tackles he put in to put off Kubo or Oyathabao or what's his name, Barrenechea. He did so much, pressing in this game, and really he looked like he was alone in that midfield, and that was Barcelona's biggest problem. And the reason why he looked like he was alone is, of course, like I mentioned earlier, Gundogan was giving the ball away so much, and Fermin was playing higher up, so he wasn't dropping deep into those midfield areas much, or if he was doing it, he wasn't doing it quick enough to offer support to Gavi and Gundogan. But generally, Gavi was good. Araujo as well had yet another, solid performance. And, when I'm talking about intensity, probably I should mention that Gavi and Araujo were probably the 2 on-field players for whom that wasn't lacking. Like, the intensity was there. You always know you're going to get intensity with Araujo, and that's exactly what we got this time around. And of course, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, after what I thought was a bit of, a wishy-washy performance from him in El Clasico, I did point out that on that first Bellingham goal, he could have done more. Well, this time around, I think he decided that he was going to take out all those frustrations he may have had from El Clasico on Sociedad, because he was basically unbeatable for them. Now, obviously, they didn't maybe have the clearest of chances, but the chances that they did manage to put on target, they did not get past Ter Stegen, and that's exactly what you want to see from your goalkeeper. And it's really coming from the fact that he kept us in the game for so long that Barca have been able to walk away with 3 undeserved points from this game. Okay, enough with the negatives and positives. Let's now quickly talk team and manager ratings. And there isn't much that I'm going to say here. I find it hard, to be honest, here to criticize Xavi, because the 3 at the back thing is something which I thought is probably going to be Barcelona's solution this season, of Barcelona's best formation to play with this season. But having said that, you probably shouldn't have started Koundé in this one. He's in match sharp. You probably shouldn't have started Lewandowski in this one. He isn't match sharp. And that's contributing to, some of the lack of intensity we saw from Barcelona. But just generally, I think you can't argue with the man's substitutes. Like, they kind of worked in their own weird way, especially towards the end of that second half, though you suspect that had more to do with Real Sociedad just running out of steam, which they usually do. If you've watched Real Sociedad a lot this season, you know that they concede a lot of late goals because just generally they don't have the intensity at the end of the game that they had at the start. So anyhow, I'm going to give Xavi a 4 out of 10 for this one. It wasn't really good from him. And as for the team, well, it was going to be a 4 out of 10 for them as well, but because of, Gavi, Araujo, and Ter Stegen just, basically being the team for the team when the team couldn't be the team. Yeah, I'm going to give the team a 6 out of 10 here. Yes, pretty generous to be quite honest, but I'm giving them a 6 out of 10 here because ultimately they got the job done, even though it was a terrible job. Okay, finally we get to the man of the match, and with this one I think it's probably a no-brainer here. I could give it to Araujo, but I think we all know that Ter Stegen deserves this one. He kept us in the game, like I had said earlier on, and without him, really, we could have lost this game quite comfortably. So that's my match review, guys. Let me know your thoughts on it. Who was your man of the match? You know, what are your negatives and positives? Is there anything that you think I left out? Do let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barça.